Journalism has a god of its own. Look at what they're doing. We have a duty to report facts and not allow their deletion. That is journalism done on one's arse. And then there's journalism done in the field.
Dmitry Muratov, you're here today at SwissInfo. Before we start, I will make a quick disclaimer. This interview will be going out in Russian, but we're actually recording it for a Western audience, so the questions will be tailored to that audience. We're meeting here today at SwissInfo, which is referred to as a public media outlet. We have recently seen that in the West, a whole host of public media outlets have been closed. Trump stopped funding Voice of America and Radio Liberty. Why is there such a demand to close down public media outlets? Who is demanding this? And what are the risks?
For the whole of human history, all dictators, all autocrats have wanted media to serve their power and serve to help them to maintain power or come to power. But when the media begin instead to serve society, and this is the point of media, that's when they begin to close such outlets. We're bearing witness to this right now, yes.
How can we fight this today, if we can?
I think journalism has a god of its own. It's called fact-checking, analysis of the facts, uncovering the facts. This is investigation. It's an investigation of big data. And that is what a journalist should be doing, despite the fact that success these days is found in clickbait, in likes, and in audience capture. We see the biggest digital giants, like Facebook, are abandoning fact-checking. Zuckerberg believes that fact-checking is harmful to freedom of speech. That's to say, lying and telling false facts is the same as supporting free speech, while analyzing facts is harming free speech. I know why this is happening. Every politician dreams that people will forget on Wednesday what he said on Monday, and on Saturday, people will forget what he talked about on Thursday. Look at what they're doing. Just this one messiah, Mr. Musk, accuses the President of the United States of America of horrible crimes, and 2 days later, he deletes his message and believes that when he says something, it is true. And when he deletes something, that's also the truth. Our function is to establish and protect a memory bank. We have a duty to report facts and not allow their deletion. We are bearing witness to the beginning of a new era, in which generative AI networks will receive the food that is fed to them, and this includes propaganda. Who is training these networks, preparing them and beating them horribly? And what results will we get? Therefore, professional journalism must confront manipulations.
Has propaganda changed in Russia? They don't have access to the same technologies as the West has. What are they using?
In Russia, manipulation technology on the internet is state-of-the-art. It's one of the most outstanding sectors of Russian industry. They are building entire networks of fake accounts, which meddle in elections all over the world, including in Russia, and form the point of view of the majority. Russia has disproven the theory that says as soon as the number of computers is comparable to the number of televisions, everyone will know the truth. The Russian state has mastered the internet decisively. The Russian state, with the help of the internet, is advancing the politics it considers necessary. And the digital giants are definitely helping them to do it. If you go into a normal shop in Russia now and you buy the latest telephone using Android, you will see that it comes preloaded with a variety of different propaganda resources. And the largest tech companies are doing this. It's just business. So we're now dealing with manipulations and with new dictators. These are digital dictators. They are not some kind of savages. No, this is all very modern.
Нет, это все уже совсем по-современному.
You're now in Switzerland. You arrive for a big festival. It's called True Story, and journalists will be presented awards. In your opinion, what form of journalism deserves recognition today?
I believe that the most important genre of modern journalism today is that of documentary films. I believe that documentary films are a syncretic genre. And in the documentary genre, you can find reports, investigations, and deep research into the human consciousness.
И расследования, и глубокие исследования человеческого сознания.
I believe there is a great future for those journalists who have learned to competently analyze big data. And I'm sure that the main genre for us, the most important, the king of all genres, is still news reporting. That is when, in the most awful places on the planet, in the most far-flung, remote places, we, the editors, and our readers believe the eyes of our correspondent. This is a huge responsibility and an enormous risk, but this is why the profession exists. On the other hand, I don't deny the importance of opinion, commentary, columns, op-eds, yes, but you understand that is journalism done on one's arse. And there's journalism done in the field. And a high-quality publication can find space for both, something that a person can learn for themselves when sat at a desk, and something a person does while working in the middle of wars, catastrophes, and difficult times for society. So I support reporting, investigation, and documentary film.
This is not your first visit to Switzerland. What do you say to Western politicians, Western institutions, NGOs when you meet them? What do you have to say to them? What is it that they don't understand or that they don't know?
Thank you. You know, yesterday someone said to me, you were friends, your newspaper and you personally, for many years, it's true, with Mikhail Gorbachev. But he lost. He left power. And I began to laugh. He left power. He didn't hold on by force. But until then, he and Reagan and other politicians, but he was the leader of this process, they granted us 30 years without a war. He lost the battle for personal power, but he won the battle for peace. That is, for the main human right, the right to life. Modern politicians have thrown human rights off the table of any negotiations. They believe it's nonsense, these human rights. One of the modern American ideologues, a billionaire, a Facebook shareholder, plainly says, democracy hinders progress. So then, let's put it this way. Humanity hinders technological development. Humanity hinders it. That is how you reach fascist ideology, when all priorities are given to the state. In my view, our goal, as with Gorbachev, as with the outstanding politicians of the past, as with Switzerland's Henri Dunant, my favourite figure from world history, is to put humanity back at the centre of the story. Put the Declaration of Human Rights back on the table. Return humanity to politics as the main element of politics, ahead of everything else.
I agree 100%. Perhaps more specifically, what is your mission today? For example, if you met the President of Switzerland, surely you would want to learn something from her or ask something of her.
Я тяжело вздохнул бы.
I would sigh heavily and almost hopelessly. I'm not afraid to live without hope, and actually, hope is just bad management. Hope is when you are depending not on yourself, but on something else. And I depend only on myself and my editors. So I would talk to them about the fact that they have enormous power to ease the fates of political prisoners in Russia, in Belarus, in other countries where people are sitting in prison for their beliefs, and many of them are dying.
В российской тюрьме
A Ukrainian journalist died in a Russian prison, Victoria Roshchina. This is an enormous shame and a tragedy. How many more are now sitting in these jails? How many Russian supporters, opponents of the special military operation, as I am required to say, are now in prison? Hundreds. Politicians have learnt to exchange prisoners, and I applaud this. It's a wonderful result of negotiations. One of the results. They've learnt to hand over the bodies of deceased soldiers. But to this day, nobody has learnt to exchange political prisoners. By the way, also in Ukraine, there are people who are jailed for their views, who are supporters of the Russian world. Yes, supporters of Putin. They are there. They were convicted by Ukrainian courts.
и есть в том числе
And among them are dying people, teenagers, very young people, politicians, doctors.
врачи.
Nadezhda Buyanova is 68 years old. She got her sentence.
Она получила свой срок.
Alexei Godunov is missing half a lung. Will they survive?
Выживут ли они?
Learn to exchange political prisoners.
Обменивать политических заключенных я об этом.
I discussed this with Macron.
А режиссерке
I talked about the director Evgenia Berkovich and the playwright Svetlana Petrichuk, about Alexei Godunov. I spoke about many people, but nothing is happening yet. We had hoped for an amnesty, but there has not been an amnesty. Modern-day autocrats do not want to pardon anyone. They must walk around with stern faces, unmoved. For them, the interests of people are far less important than those of the state.
но в Швейцарии
But Switzerland has the Red Cross. But in Switzerland, the Geneva Conventions were signed. But Switzerland has the offices of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. But Switzerland and the Swiss government have for centuries served as moderators, who have taught states to reach accords on their platform, securing the freedom of political prisoners.
не политических заключенных. Еще одно.
I'll tell you one more thing.
Знаете, в традиции
You know, in European and American tradition, and in the humanist tradition of these politicians, there is a special role for the First Lady, the head of state's wife, who takes on the functions of an ambassador, an envoy for those in the greatest need.
хуже всего. Может быть, мы присутствуем.
Perhaps we're standing at the start of an era when the First Ladies of Germany, Switzerland, France, and the United States of America, Britain and Hungary will say,
Америки, Англии и Венгрии. Они
"We are not interested in your geopolitical ambitions, not interested in how you want to carve up the world.
амбиции не про то, как вы хотите переделать мир.
We care about specific people whose lives are in danger, and we want to save them. As soon as we learn to save the lives of specific people, the world will change. Humanity must be returned to the center, and not historical or contour maps."